So the future of superpowers is uncertain, particularly through economic problems in the US and the EU that we looked at, and whether the US can continue to exert its military presence as it has been doing up until now. So the EU has its own problems. It's got an ageing population, it's got high unemployment, but the USA also faces its own challenges as well, politically, economically. The current trade war with China, a great example of another superpower tension that we looked at last time. So the 2008 crash was one of the big things that impacted the USA and the developed world in general, and there are still some impacts of that happening today, but it's also important to remember that it could happen again. So make sure that you're clear about the economic impacts that the 2008 crash had on the developed world. Military expenditure as well is obviously a huge cost, particularly for the United States. Spending as much as it does on its military far outstrips anyone else in the world currently. But China's expenditure is slowly going up, and it's not going to slow down any time soon. So the US might have trouble in the future trying to retain its military presence around the world. Just some stats there in terms of its budget compared particularly to other countries. You've got the UK as well, still investing in its nuclear deterrent, which is a highly divisive topic back in the UK. Is it worth it? What's the point? Is that money being well spent? Can Britain afford to keep its nuclear deterrent in the current world? France as well is also doing much the same thing as the UK. So how can these countries retain their status on the world stage? It's going to get more and more difficult as time goes by. Just make sure you've got all these tasks clearly in your notes. There's links at the bottom of the slides for further reading and all sorts of stuff like that. So the point is, economic uncertainties are going to mean that the retention of superpower status or perceived superpower status is going to be a lot more difficult in